hi, glad to see that you're here at 7 o'clock, 7 something, and we're going to call to order this meeting of the Hendricks County Democratic Party. And the next first thing we're going to do is say the pledge. Chris is going to help us out with that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Sure. Right. Okay, if you are a PC, would you please stand? A precinct chair, these are the neighborhood captains. They are the front line of defense in organizing our neighborhoods. Thank you all for being here. Would you introduce yourself, and tell us what precinct you're in?
Sure. My name is Sarah. I'm in Washington 13. Karen Whitney, Lincoln 19. Cheryl McCormick, Washington 25. Mary Sensler, Guilford 16.
Stan Albaugh, Washington 24.
Zimmy Roman, Lincoln 6.
Catherine Ransford, Washington 26.
Ron Pittman, Lincoln 10.
Beth Miller, Brown 5.
Mary Dooley, Guilford 7.
Joy Fuller, Guilford 20.
Douglas Gum, Lincoln 3.
Nancy Stinson, Lincoln 8.
Joey Garnes, Guilford 21.
Nikki Rinks, Washington 21. Donna Watson, Clay 1.
All right, fantastic. Oh, you're a PC.
Oh, yeah. I'm a PC. I'm Linda Lassiter, Guilford 18.
I don't want to be,
You want to be a
but I
PC?
don't know how to,
Oh, you got to talk to Linda.
how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Then next month we'll have you. Okay.
Where I live and what I would like to do.
Fantastic. If you are a candidate running for office, please stand. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Please introduce yourself and tell us what are you running for?
Karen Whitney, State Rep, House District 28, kicking Jeffrey Thompson's butt.
Cassandra Toussaint, Avon Town Council, Ward 4.
All right. Yay.
Stan Albaugh, I'm running for the Washington Township Board.
Thank you.
Ron Pittman, I'm running for Lincoln Township Board on the theme of transparency.
Margaret Trauner for the Guilford Township Board for the trustees.
I'm Douglas Gum, Brownsburg Town Council, Ward 1.
All right.
Kevin Lancaster, Avon, Ward 3.
Fantastic.
Nancy Stinson, Brownsburg Town Council, Ward 5.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay. Very good. I think that's everybody. Oh.
County Council, District 3.
I think that's it. There you go. Oh, wait. Oh, golly. All right. If you are from Avon, let us know you're here. Brownsburg. Danville. Let's see. There's, Clayton. Plainfield. Hey. North Salem, Pittsburgh, Belleville. Hey. Let's see, I think that's Indianapolis. All right, we got it. All right. Stylesville, North Salem, Liston, Coatesville, Amo. All right, that's everybody. And the unincorporated town of Hazelwood. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
So everybody's here that's supposed to be here, yeah? So I forgot to mention, if you're wondering if I'm missing a front tooth, I absolutely am. I was trying really hard not to have to subject you to this, but it just didn't work out that way. I've had a flipper for 6 months. I broke the tooth off of the flipper in a chicken leg, and I couldn't get it turned around fast enough to spare you all, so sorry. Speaking of candidates, Tiffany Stoner is usually here. She wanted me to tell you all hello, and she's not here because she's canvassing doors in Brownsburg. Okay, so here's the most fun part of the meeting. We're here for a reason. What are we here for? To elect Democrats! Was that really loud? No. Okay, well, so let's do it again. What are we here for? To elect Democrats! Yeah, it's fun. July the 4th was last week, and we didn't have a meeting then, so we're going to kind of do something to honor that day, because that's an important day. So we're going to read the Declaration of Independence. Darcy is going to go first. Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13th United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them, a decent respect of the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are institutioned among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute disposition, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
Thank you, Darcy. Frank's gonna pick up on the indictment.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation, till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, and thus those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarm of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislature. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Jared's gonna pick up.
He has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule in these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever.
Thanks, Jared.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He's at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an indistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them
got the paper that my cheat sheet. No, you did. I did. Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We didn't have enough rehearsals. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They, too, have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That's the end of the Declaration of Independence. The parts that Frank and Jared and Joey read were what is called the indictment, or they also call them the grievances. There are 27 of them, and they lay out one by one all of the things that Great Britain had done incorrectly or wrongly or cruelly to the colonists. So let's have a little bit of a discussion. Who knows anything about the Declaration of Independence?
I have two ancestors, brothers, that signed the Declaration of Independence, and one of them then signed the Constitution.
Wow.
John and Edward Rutledge.
Awesome.
And I visited their homes in Sutton, Charleston.
How many signatories are there on the Declaration of Independence? Da, 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 da.
At least two.
56.
How many?
56. I can't say it. 56. Was the Declaration of Independence signed on July the 4th, 1776? When was it signed? Or 4th, something like that. August. Why wasn't it signed on July the 4th? Who wrote it? Who else? Thomas Jefferson was not the only author. Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, there were 5. John Adams. Sherman, Roger Sherman. Good one. Nope. Nope. Livingston. John Livingston. And for those of you, this is a current thing. For those of you that are watching, what is it? Unhappiness? Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness. Anybody watching that? John Livingston is the one that, what's his name? Larry David is in the first episode. Just so you know. Okay. So, what else? I know. Ari's got something to say about the Constitution.
Well, no, about the Declaration of Independence, a very different document. Yeah, my wife is cringing right now. I was a history major. I can talk for a good deal about this. I recommend the PBS documentary that came out recently on the Revolutionary War. It's quite good, Hendricks. But the thing that I would say about the Declaration of Independence is that it wasn't like all of a sudden they were free. Does anybody know when the British surrendered? 83. Did I hear that? Because I believe that is correct. So 7 years later, and the initial occupation of Boston happened in, I want to say, early 75, might have been 74. So there had already been an active state of war for over a year, and it continued for 7 years more, which is my way of reminding us all that struggles for liberty and justice and the pursuit of happiness are long and hard and often bloody. So if you're not prepared to put some skin in the game, I don't know.
Also, as it kind of said in the grievances, that language is much different from the language that we speak, and so it's hard maybe to follow some of those grievances as they were read. But those colonists things had been going on for a while, and they would, so King George would send out a decree to the colonies, and the colonies would send back something they didn't like, and of course, you know, they're traveling in a boat across the Atlantic Ocean, so communication was slow. So it had been a while that they had been upset. And these men, Ari was talking about skin in the game. These men, when they signed that document, put their lives on the line because they were immediately guilty of treason against their sovereign king. And if any of them had been arrested or caught or whatever, they were done. So that they did pledge their lives truly for our freedom. Anybody else want to say something about the Declaration of Independence?
I just think it's really striking that the indictment sounds like today. It just sounds like we were listening to grievances for today.
I would make a little exception to that in that one of the grievances groups all Native Americans into a phrase of savages. And does not acknowledge any of the extensive help that Native peoples gave to settlers here. The media gave sparse attention to any of that on the 250th celebration.
You're right, Mary.
When you're talking about cruelty, I just received something from the Indiana Democratic Party that I think is it Dan Bovino or Greg Bovino? Okay, used to work for ICE. He wore the Gestapo type coat. He is coming to Indiana next week to Hamilton County.
At the invitation of Micah Beckwith.
At the invitation of Micah Beckwith, who has said and degraded Muslim religions. So
I heard a lot of conversation, especially in this 250th anniversary. How many people here remember the bicentennial? How many of you remember the feeling of that bicentennial? It was so joyful, and it was so united. There just wasn't the animosity that we have today. And we have animosity, and we have divisions within our own party. People yelling at each other and calling each other names. I just want to remind us that this document was so unique. There had been a lot of conversation. This was the age of enlightenment. There had been a lot of conversation about free will and intellectual discourse and the rights of men. But this was the first time any group of people had said, we want to have a government based on that. We don't want to have a monarchy. Because there was an offer to make George Washington a king, and he chose not to do this. As imperfect as that founding was, and we all know it was and the founders were imperfect, and that document is imperfect, as Mary pointed out. It was the beginning of something wonderful. The last line of the document, Linda, is, we stand together. We stand together with our treasure, with our lives, with our blood. And I think we need to remember that. And we all need to remember that, not just Democrats.
So I just retired from a company that is the largest Native American mortgage lender in the country. So I worked with a lot of Native Americans. I grew up in Oklahoma, where there's a lot of Native Americans. And to this day, if there is a reservation in a rural part of a state and the community around it is a very small community, the Native American tribe will provide police and ambulance services and stuff to that community, which is not Native American. And I don't think many people know that. They're very proudful people, and some are very wealthy, and some are in poverty. So I was very proud to work for that company.
Thank you. The sole Democrat from Danville would like to speak. My name is Diane Tolliver, and it's time for something. Key elements of the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. Natural rights. It asserts that all people possess inalienable rights, specifically, help me, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The next one is equality. It boldly states the self-evident truth that all men are created equal. Another one is consent of the governed. It declares that governments derive their legitimate power strictly from the approval of the people. Finally, right to revolution. It gives citizens the right to alter or abolish a government that becomes destructive to these rights. And this is the foundation of American democracy. And thanks for listening.
So yeah, it's like awesome. It's totally awesome. The United States is completely and totally awesome. We talk about how we're not perfect. The United States government is not perfect. It has never been. I want to say that as the part of the Declaration of Independence and the incredible intelligence and foresight, the education these men had are just astounding. And I want to say something about those colonists. They were sent from the 13 colonies that comprised the United States. And they weren't waiting. They didn't have elections to be delegates to the First and Second Continental Congress. They were township and county officers. They were the precinct chairs and the vice precinct chairs of their counties. That's who they were. Those are the people that were sent to Philadelphia to do all of this. There's one other thing that I want to say. I feel, I don't want to say it, but I feel like I have to say it. They were also all white, all male, all wealthy, and more than one half of them were slaveholders. And therein very likely holds some of the, before we even began, the seeds of what was happening now were also laid at that same day in that same document. So, does anybody want to say who the 13 colonies were? No? Okay. Yes, that was, yes. New Jersey, New York, yes, yes, yes. North Carolina, yes. South Carolina, yes. Maryland, yes. Delaware, yes. Georgia, yes. Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. One more I haven't heard. Nope, there's another one. Another one. Connecticut. Connecticut. I always thought that was interesting. I said that. But I thought when I was reading all about all this, it struck me that those men were just like us. They were the ones who knew their counties the most, who knew the people who lived in their counties better than anybody else, who knew how they felt about things and what they would stand for on their farms and their with their livestock and such like that. So we're still here. Okay, so thanks for all that. Thanks for indulging me in my need to mess with the Declaration of Independence. See, that's one of the great things about being the chair. You get to make the agenda. And thanks to Darcy and Frank and Jared and Joey. So now, it's time to approve the June meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion? All in favor? All opposed? Minutes are approved. And so, it's been a few weeks since I received the letter from our beloved Teresia Shearer that she was resigning the position of treasurer. And I thought my heart was going to stop, and then I went into a cold sweat and a panic. And because I had worked with Teresia at that point for like 5 years, very closely, and I had never been able, anything I did, to get to her standard. And so I was terribly distraught. I would like for you all to meet our new treasurer. Her name is Deb Rotman. She's a Brownsburg girlie.
Yeah, so I'm a recovering college professor, and I moved to Brownsburg in 2020 to be closer to family, including a new grandchild. And I'm a certified association executive, so I have lots of experience, both formal training and professional experience in the nonprofit sector. And I'm really excited to be on the team. So thank you for the warm welcome.
Oh, I didn't tell you I was going to do that, did I, Dan? I didn't tell you I was going to do that, did I? I knew you could handle it. Yeah, we have a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, and Frank is our podcaster. You want to say a few things?
Thank you. Podcast is called Building Hendricks Blue. We have one episode that's in the can, another one that'll be there for the end of the day tomorrow, if I don't fall asleep. And we'll have a couple more before the end of the month. The goal is to put out 2 a month. We're interviewing candidates. We're doing recaps of the meeting. And right now it's on YouTube, but it'll be on, I'm trying to get it on all the platforms very shortly. And for your viewing and listening pleasure. And I do have some little magnets for your refrigerator if you'd like to stop by and pick one up to remind you to check it out. Again, it's Building Hendricks Blue. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank. So it looks like it's time for committee reports. Kathy, you're always first up. Do you want me to switch you out to some other spot? Okay.
Hi. Yeah, I first want to start off with thanking everyone that showed up for our 4th of July parades, and it was almost as hot as it is today. For our Brownsburg parade, I can remember meetings we didn't have this many people. But between Tiffany Stoner, Drew Cox, Jared Petrie, Will Coltrion, Karen Whitney, the candidates brought a lot of people, and then we had other people. And I also wanted to really send a shout out to Nick, who is our driver. Sarah did the organization. Help me out here. Oh, Meg and Ted Bagginson, they brought the trailer to us and helped us decorate it. Cindy and Steve brought ice and drinks, which were desperately needed that day. It was hot. So again, thank you for everyone that showed up, everybody that helped out. It was great. I also have done this parade and the one following it in Pittsburgh for the last couple years. Each year we get more and more enthusiastic cheers. It was fun. Yeah. So if you're in doubt about joining us at a parade, even when we went to Pittsburgh, which is smaller, more rural, we had a few boos, I'll be honest, but you get the cheers, you get the quiet thumbs up, so it's good to have them see us there. So consider, we've got North Salem coming up September 6th and Plainfield the 19th of September. So put it on your calendars. Come have some fun with the Democrats. Next one. And in June, we tried Dems and dinner and Dems, whatever, in Plainfield. And we had about 30 people, had a great time. No agenda. It was just fun talking to other Democrats in a very relaxed setting. So somebody suggested we go to Locale in Brownsburg. They can hold 40 people. Please sign up because I need to know the week before so I can give them a sort of a head count on who's coming. But again, it's just fun. You can talk about whatever, and it's a safe space, and come join us. Okay, and then we still have a few slots open for the fair. We're trying to have 3 people on each shift so that you always have some coverage. It's inside, although next week looks like the weather's going to be okay. But see, Susie, would you stand? Susie's trying to pull the shifts together, or else, well, it's harder to find on Mobilize. But it was in the newsletter that you got today on where to sign up. See me or Susie afterwards, and we'll get you. It's mostly Friday and Saturday where we need shifts filled. Okay? I think that's it. Unless I think of something, and then I'll come and grab the microphone. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. No worries. Oh, I did think of something. Thank you for everybody that bought dinner tonight. It will be a small fundraiser for our candidates. So again, thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. PC Ops, Linda, Ted Baggeson. Ted's not here. I am. We just continue to try and add PCs, the numbers that we have, to get up to 105. And I think we got like 44 now, maybe, or something like that. So that's great. And we got going to add another one here shortly, so that's good. Karen O'Brien is the acting chair of the fundraising committee. She has been acting that way for a while. I think she'd be really happy to exit stage left and quit the acting, but.
I was using the term fade to black. Hi, I'm Karen O'Brien, and I'm the chair of the fundraising committee. I started in January of 2025. Is that correct? And for 3 months I was acting chair, and then I just got roped in, and now it's a year and a half later. Fundraising has a great team, and several of us are sitting back at the table. I'm really thrilled to welcome Deb Rotman as treasurer, because maybe at some point in time she can feed me the numbers, and I can give you some really, really solid numbers about how much money we are at to date and the kinds of things we're spending that on. I know that we've already let out an application for funding for the candidates, so you're going to see candidates getting a boost financially to help with their campaigns. That's one of the big things we were trying to do, is build the money up so that we had enough money to help people. We also have collected, and this is really kind of slippery maybe, but I get the notification from Act Blue for all the money that goes into our Act Blue account for Hendricks County Democrat Party. And on average, per month, we are getting recurring donations of around $700 to $900, recurring donations monthly. That translates to close to $10,000 a year in just base operation. That helps us with our electronics, with even getting papers for copies and that kind of thing, buying ink for our printers where we have to print out agendas or the budget or anything else. And I'm here to put on another hat and talk to you from the standpoint of being an individual who does do a recurring donation. There are only a few things that I pay into regularly. One of them is the Arbor Foundation, because I love trees. Another one is Sierra Club. And for several years now, I've done a recurring donation to the Hendricks County Democratic Party. I tried to get somebody else to do a testimony because I think we all need to hear this every once in a while, how that goes into being a good volunteer, a good member of our party, a good support for those who are discouraged when things aren't going our way nationally or statewide, coming to a meeting, giving a recurring donation in order to support efforts to put different leaders in office. So there's a really easy way to do a recurring donation, even if it's $5 a month, and that's through Act Blue. You go to actblue.com and it will almost walk you through the process. And I would encourage everybody in the room, and I'm hoping to get this out through the newsletter and that kind of thing. I know we have an article in the newsletter that says that as well. But if we had 1,300 people doing a recurring donation, we could have billboards, we could have signage, we could have pamphlets that tell what we stand for, so that we're easily communicating with our neighbors as precinct chairs and as members of this party. We're going to need that coming into November, and we're also going to need that coming into 2008. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Now we're going to hear from Darcy. Again.
I'm Darcy James. I am our chair of our communications. I will talk about Young Dems here in a minute too. For communications, I don't have too much. I am going to say this one more time. I have a spot for a graphic designer on my team, and I would love one. So our media team, we have gained a lot of writers. We have the podcast that we'll be helping with. So that's a little area that we would love some help to make sure that our social media can stay up to date and whatnot. Busy lives, so hopefully we can, if you know anyone who just, loves to tinker around with design, please let me know. For Young Dems, I want to thank everyone for coming to Will Coulter-Young's trivia night that we did last Friday at Books and Brews. We had a really good turnout. I'm really glad to hear a lot of people said they had fun. This time we did have one of our own Young Dems actually created the trivia, and he loved doing the entire process, and Miss Karen Whitney has asked that we try and see what we could do for her. So I think on October 2nd, tentatively, put that in your phone if you want to go to trivia for us. Books and Brews again, they've already said that they're game. They love supporting us. They're grateful that we like going there so much. So it's cool that we have a local business that likes to host us so much.
Hey, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Thanks to Young Dems. Appreciate that. And you don't have to be young to go, right, guys? How many went last time to Will's event? All right, so let's double it for this event. There were Young Dems. Of course, it cracks me up that your age is 18 to 35. I used to think that was anything under 50 was young, but okay. You don't have to be under 35, right?
Correct.
And we had a good time.
Had a great time. It was so much fun. Yeah, I think that it's fun to see all the different groups and how people do trivia differently too. So super fun. For the Young Dems, if there's any new folks here, we do a virtual meeting every month. We try and keep it simple at 8 o'clock at night on a Thursday. You should not have anything too crazy going on that you can't jump on a Google Meet. Our goal is to become a chartered chapter with IYD. I do think I have a secretary, hopefully. I think that happened. So I need a treasurer, which, we'll see how that goes. But that's really all I got. Now it's you.
So let's see. For the executive committee, I have an announcement from the Indiana Democratic Party. They have lost 2 of their staffers since the convention. Neil Coughlin has resigned. Neil was the data person, and I kind of feel the same way as I did when Teresa, it's like the world must have stopped now since he's not there anymore. And Dana Colbert, the executive director, also resigned. Evan Robbins, who was the political director, I think is probably going to step into that role, but I don't know. Who knows? So there's that I want you to know about. Let's see. I got an email from Drew Cox's campaign, and he is wanting to know if there's any interest from our members to serve as the county coordinator for his campaign for District 4. County coordinator role would involve coordinating logistics for canvassing, phone banking, and any other campaign needs requiring a physical presence in the county. So if anybody want to think about that, let me know. Everybody knows how to find me. Then the other thing that we did at the last executive committee meeting, besides welcoming Deb, is discuss the candidate grants requests that we had received up to that point, which were 4. So I'm going to give out our first round of checks for those people. Elect Democrat! I was trying to be quiet on that one. Next. County Election Board. What do you got to say, Tracy? It's a good thing I'm not holding this when I'm screaming and hollering.
Yeah. First day without crutches in a couple of weeks. So, woohoo. So, just a couple of really quick things. The most exciting thing we have is the draft of an actual emergency preparedness plan. And we've talked about this for quite a while. What do we do in case of a flood? What do we do in case of a terrorist action? What do we do in case of anything? And the board has a 50-page draft. It's based largely on templates of successful plans from other states. It covers literally anything you can think of. It does put a ton of responsibility on the inspectors of those locations. So, when the Democrats take back the Secretary of State office, well, everybody who wants to be an inspector, you're gonna have some learning to do. A lot of it is common sense, right? But one thing that the inspectors are going to have to get better at is communication with the people who own the building where the location is. They have to know who they are, they have to be familiar with it, and they have to be able to ask questions and get some things done. So just be thinking about that when you all want to be inspectors. There's going to be some additional responsibility on your shoulders. It's been much needed for a long time. So we're excited to have that. It's in draft form. We should have that out to everybody shortly. And there will be training on it. Yes, Darcy.
When will you start scheduling for early voting and
When will we start scheduling? Poll workers? Oh, poll workers. You're gonna have to ask Linda when they're doing that. You're getting those together now, right? Mid-August.
Start making phone calls in mid-August.
Yep. I know the spreadsheet is coming together now, so we're not quite there yet. Yes? There are no silly questions. You might get a silly answer. Yeah, the inspector follows the party of the Secretary of State
Okay.
by statute,
So
so,
we have had some Democrat, okay.
not recently, but yeah.
I've been some doozy
Yep.
Republicans.
So Nancy, and then,
So what happens if the Secretary of State is not is perhaps, as an example, a Green Party or an
Or-
active party?
or an independent? That's a good question. I am not 100% sure. I thought about that the other day, and I'm not sure. I'll look it up and let you know. I will let Linda know, and she'll send it out to everybody, because I honestly do not know. I'll have to read code on that.
We discussed that.
Oh, yeah.
More limiting resource, the voting machines or poll workers? Which is your more limiting resource, the number of voting machines or the poll workers?
Poll workers. Yeah, this cycle, the Democrats did a phenomenal job. We had so many poll workers. It was fantastic. There were some challenges along the way. Some people on both sides, raised their hand and said, yes, I want to be a poll worker, and then the day before or the day of, they said, oh, well, I can't make it, which is really, really difficult. You can't do that. If you raise your hand to be a poll worker, we need you to be committed to be a poll worker when you say you're going to be there, because that puts us in a really bad spot. The other side of the aisle, they are having some issues getting enough poll workers scheduled. Darn. Now,
There's supposed to be more of them in this county, aren't there?
it sounds like a them problem. So, but I don't know why they're having a hard time fielding as many poll workers as they need. However, the election board, we schedule the number of machines at a location based on the number of voters. And we look at historical numbers, the traffic that has been had. So if that location has been busy, it's going to get 10 machines, and the parties are just going to have to deal with getting the poll workers. We do not schedule a location based on the number of poll workers available. We schedule the location based on the voters that need that location. And they tried, at the last meeting, we did a debrief of the poll worker situation. And they tried to say, well, we don't think we want this site, or we think we need to have fewer machines here. And I think Linda and I make some really good eye contact, and we said, no, we will 100% of the time err on the side of more access instead of less. So this is what we have. We have already agreed. These are the locations for November. We're not changing that. Couldn't even if we wanted to, really, without jumping through hoops. So no, we're not changing that. There will be more, not less. I think that's all I have for now. We don't at the moment have any meetings scheduled, but when we do, we'll get that to Linda. We'll get it on, it's always on the county clerk's website, and we'll get it out, a push notification too.
Oh, I have one more question.
Oh my God, no.
How many days before the formal election day, so November 3rd? 113. How many days can we start putting up yard signs?
60. Here's something interesting. The election board has zero authority to say anything whatsoever about when signs are posted or where they're posted.
Who has the authority? HOA.
The municipalities have have the say. The parties can make recommendations to the candidates when they, think you should be putting them up. But as far as where, we have zero control over that, and when, that is not within the authority of the board.
You can put a sign up now on your personal property. If there's an HOA, they can restrict it. By state statute, they cannot restrict it 30 days prior to the election.
Right.
Other than that, it's 60 days depending upon what municipality you might be located in.
I'll ask my council member.
And just a general rule of thumb on where to put signs, if there's a utility pole, put it between the utility pole and the property, not the utility pole and the road. That's the easement, that's the right of way. Don't put it there. You can't do that. It has to be on the other side of a utility pole.
Right of way is considered 25 feet from the center line of the road. If you put it inside the right of way,
All of that is
municipal ordinance
based
can
on
pick it up.
different towns again and different.
No, right of way.
Right of way is not. Right of way is state.
I used to work at Duke Energy Transmission. Sometimes their easement was the width of the pole, sometimes it was the width of the arms, and sometimes it was.
Kids, hey. Let's stop that conversation and go on to another one. We're gonna talk to Elizabeth Coleman now about field operations.
Yes, everyone's favorite subject, field operations. So yes, I am Elizabeth. If you haven't met me yet, you'll probably get a call from me or my husband Ari soon asking you to phone bank. But what are we here for? To elect Democrats! That's right. How do we elect Democrats? We elect them by calling Democrats and saying, hi, would you vote for Democrats? That's exactly what we're doing in phase one. We are going to elect Democrats one call at a time, one volunteer at a time, one voter at a time. That is how we do it. One after one after one. We get one, then we get another one, then we get another one until suddenly we have won the election. We are off to a great start so far. We started phase one at the beginning of June. From then until July 11th, we have called 2,179 Hendricks County Democrats. A lot of thanks to everyone who has shown up so far at our phone banks. Every week we have had more and more. Last week we were in Avon, we had 10 volunteers show up. We got through all of Washington 28, over 400 voters in about 2.5 hours of calling, which was phenomenal. So out of everyone that we have surveyed so far, 77% of that 2,000 and change Democrats have said yes, they are definitely going to vote for Democrats this November. 17% have expressed an interest in volunteering to help us elect Democrats. So, I mean, I really think it is very important that we call everyone that we can because the support is there. This is a resource to help build our party, not just now, but for the future as well. We have 8 weeks to get to our goal. Our goal is to call every Hendricks County Democrat before Labor Day. That is phase one, the first pass of all of the Democrats. Find out who we've got, and if it's a 77% yes rate, we want every single one of those voters to come out. So there's 24,804 identified Democrats in Hendricks County. We've called 2,179 so far. That means we have 21,871 to go. That might feel daunting to you, but I swear it is achievable. There are more than 50 people in this room. Every single one of the people in this room made 50 calls a week. That is 2,500 voters a week, more than we've called total so far. So if each of you could make 10 calls a day, Monday through Friday, that would get us to goal. That would be 20,000 voters by Labor Day. This is achievable, but we need every single person to pitch in and start smiling and dialing, as we like to say. So our next event is going to be this Thursday in Plainfield at the Public Library from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. You do not need to show up at 5 o'clock on the dot. If you show up anytime in that time period, we can get you trained. It's a volunteer training opportunity. If you've never phone banked before, come out, learn the script, answer, or get your questions answered. We will help take care of you and get you set up. If for some reason none of these dates work for you, you are welcome to send me an email and I will get you set up for some other day. All right. I had thought that I had my email on there, but I don't remember. All right, so that is what we've got going on. So please come out, please sign up. The way that we are going to get this is, again, one volunteer at a time, one call at a time, one voter at a time. Together we will be able to elect some Democrats. What's up, Chris?
We're going to have a meeting this week?
Oh, yeah. We are also having a field operations meeting next week. Tuesday at 7, sure. Sure, so if you're a PC, if you are an area captain, if you are somebody who wants to take on a leadership role in field, if you want to just get more involved with the grassroots voter outreach operation that we are trying to launch here, we want you to join us. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So one other thing, explanations of poll worker roles. Let's flip back to the poll workers. So all of us are familiar with going to a vote location and you walk to the check-in table and you show your ID and you sign your name. The people who are running that machine, we all have electric poll books now that are iPads. Those are clerks. The clerk is going to hand you a card and a slip of paper. She's going to hand it to you and you're going to walk over here and you're going to hand it to the judge. The judges take you to the vote machine, put that card in, and that automatically programs the ballot to your ballot in your precinct so that only the people you're eligible to vote for show up on that ballot. And they are there for questions and such and such and such. Everybody's pretty familiar with them. However, there's also canvassers that have to be scheduled. Canvassers are people who check and open absentee ballots. They look at the ones that are sent out to make sure that they're look the way they're supposed to look, and then they get sent out. Then when they come back in, they open those envelopes. There's a travel board, and a travel board gets in a car and goes to wherever has called to request a travel board visit to vote. There's, what do you call them? They don't call them nursing homes anymore. Thank you. Assisted living places, that's lots of travel board activity happens there. The clerks, the judges, the canvassers, the travel board are all bipartisan teams. If there's two clerks, if you go in and there's two people sitting at that initial table where you give your ID to, one of them is a Democrat and one of them is a Republican. When you hand it to the judge, one of those judges is a Democrat and one is a Republican. That's the way all of those teams work. And on a personal note, you will rarely ever find true nonpartisan coworkers than you will find at a polling location. Yeah, they're just focused on the big picture. Now there's sometimes that doesn't work, but not very often. So then other people that need to be scheduled are alternates. Tracy was saying about people who call the day that they're scheduled, say, you know, I can't. There's all kinds of reasons. Life happens to people, but you have to have somebody you can call to take that place, because you have to have those bipartisan teams. You can't just say, oh, all the Democrats got sick today, so let's call a bunch of Republicans. You cannot do that. That's against election law. So alternates have to be scheduled. They're not scheduled on a day or a shift, but they're scheduled to be alternates. They have to agree to be available for the whole shebang if they're doing for early voting. And then, of course, there's inspectors. Inspectors right now are Republicans. Those inspectors are the boss, the organizer, the director, the president of the whatever, of their location. They are the ones that should know who's coming to their polling place, know whether they're Democrat, Republican, know how to set up the poll, get all the poll, what are they? Machines. Oh my gosh. Machines open, set up, everything, all the procedures and processes that go on as far as making sure that the location is ready for voters. The other thing that I am not sure, but possibly will be important at this election, will be poll watchers. This is not something that is a routine kind of thing for Hendricks County. Poll watchers can be anybody. They have to be appointed by the county chair. They have to be vetted, all those kinds of things. They have to be there for a reason. But I just throw that out there because I think it's a possibility that when we get to that place, we may need some poll watchers, particularly at polling locations where we know there are going to be thousands of voters. And that's all I have to say about that. If you want to be a poll worker, which, by the way, is the only paid volunteer option in the Democratic Party, let me know. Email me, tell me, let me know, and then I will make sure that I will do my vetting to make sure that everything's good on that side and get you on a list. We have a list in Action Network that's marked for election workers. And then beginning mid-August, we'll start calling to schedule for early voting. Okay, any questions? Yes, Ed?
Do you know what the training dates are yet?
The training date for early voting is October the 1st. I do know that much. Joy? Oh, yes, one day.
Here's my other question then. If we're not available to work election day, can we still just work?
Early voting? Yes. Yes. Yes, Nancy.
People that are running for an office.
Correct.
Can they be poll workers or early or?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Can you be poll watchers?
I don't think so. But I'll check to be sure. Any others? It used to be candidates could possibly be a poll worker when we had precinct poll locations. But now that we have vote centers, every candidate is on every machine everywhere. So therefore you can't. Anything else about that? Okay, who's gonna pick the winner for the 50-50 raffle? I'm not walking across that thing again. Push anything or just hold it? Or you can hold it for me? You hold it. Okay, hold it really up close. Okay, way up close, okay. Just step forward and
Okay. Pardon me? The 50/50 tickets, they're $1 each, and you can get 6 for $5. You can buy as many as you want. Okay, so tonight we brought in 218 in sales, so half of that is 109 payout. So let's get ready and pick our lucky winner. Not looking, tossing them around again. You ready?
Yeah.
And our winner is, last 4 digits are 9982.
Jeez, oh Pete. Oh, yay!
Cindy Hellman. Let me just go down there and catch her.
Cindy Holman won all the money. And she's donated some of it back, like a good Democrat should. So now it's that time, kids. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? A second? All in favor? All opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you so much. Love seeing y'all.